In the name of the Father, en el nombre del Padre, el Hijo y el Espíritu Santo. Amen. Please be seated. Siéntese, por favor. This week on Wednesday, in our Bible study, we were saying that we have the order of the lessons wrong on the day of Pentecost. Esta semana en el estudio bíblico estamos diciendo que el orden de la lectura es el día de Pentecostés está equivocado. The lessons ideally today should begin in the gospel where Jesus finds this group of people locked in a room out of fear. Las lecturas deben comenzar en el Evangelio donde Jesús encuentra esos líderes en un lugar de temor. And from finding those people in that state of fear, Jesus goes to bless them, and then they go out, and then the Holy Spirit blesses them, and then the church is born. So it begins in fear, and then it comes with Pentecost, and then we have church. Así debería comenzar las lecturas, con los discípulos en temor, y luego salen, y viene el Espíritu Santo, y luego tenemos iglesia. Debería comenzar en temor. I'm not that I'm advocating that we begin our service or we begin our lives in fear, but I think if you think about the beginning of life, think about how much that impacts us. They talk about early childhood experiences having a profound impact on your adulthood. And I think we can say that the church began with a very traumatic moment. That they were with Jesus, that Jesus formed them, that Jesus brought them together, but then when Jesus died, they found themselves in fear. And this was very, very traumatic for the church. Que la iglesia comenzó en un momento cuando estaban con Jesús y todo estaba bien y todo salió bien, pero luego Jesús se fue, Él murió y los discípulos se quedaron con temor. We want to remember that we are in a humble place as Christians, for we come from this humble beginning. We are descendants of fearful people who were locked in a room, who were unable to go out and talk with the people who were right outside. And I think that's important for us to claim, that as Christians we are descendants and inheritors of this piece of fear. And as human beings we bear it within us. Como cristianos tenemos que recordar que somos gente descendientes de ese lugar de temor, donde los discípulos estaban juntos en un cuarto con temor, ni quisieran salir a hablar con la gente, porque tenían tanto temor. And we think about life, and we think about this moment of fear that the disciples had, and I ask you this morning, who didn't wake up with a little bit of fear and anxiety? Reading it once again that there was a horrible terror attack in the world. And who, in looking at the news and in thinking about our future and our world, does not have a little bit of fear and anxiety about what's coming next? For we don't know what life will bring us. We're worried about, just like the disciples were, we're worried about ourselves. We're certainly worried about many people, about the environment, what's going to happen in the future, worried about our country, worried about all sorts of things like money, our health, the background of our life, and we are divided, just like the disciples were. We live in doors, behind doors, in walls, divided by things like the color of our skin, our thoughts about life, divided by our feelings about the government, divided by language, background, immigration, sexuality, and so on. And we have to ask, how far have we come from that moment 2,000 years ago? It's still part of our DNA. And as Christians, it's good to recognize. Creo que todavía estamos divididos como los discípulos en el Evangelio. Estamos divididos por idioma y por raza, por muchas cosas, por el estatus inmigratorio, y todavía mucha gente vive en temor. Entonces hay que ver qué tan lejos hemos salido desde el primer día de Pentecostés y los discípulos en su cuartito. I am grateful this morning on Pentecost to be reminded that it's okay to be fearful. I am grateful on Pentecost this morning to be reminded that it's okay to be trapped in some room. On some level, our fear and our separation and our anxiety are just part of marvelously who God has made us as Christians. And our greatness as a faithful Christians has never been that Jesus chose the greatest people in the world. Our strength as Christians has never been that Jesus chose the strongest people in the world. Our power as Christians has never been that on Sunday morning, the most powerful people in the community come to gather to celebrate. Jesus chose ordinary people. He let them lock themselves into a room. He let them divide themselves into groups. He let them fail and cower in their fear. But then he sent Pentecost. Lo que es bueno de un cristiano no es que somos buenos. Lo que es fuerte de un cristiano no es que somos fuertes. Lo que es magnífico de los cristianos no es que somos magníficos. Jesús eligió cualquier persona, personas regulares. Ellos se encerraron en un cuarto, ellos tenían temor, y eso era la fe cristiana, pero luego vino Pentecostés. I suggest this morning that Pentecost made all the difference in the life of the church. And I pray that as long as today or tomorrow or sometime in the next few days, a few weeks, that we will know that the Holy Spirit, which has descended upon God, has descended upon us, that we will know that Spirit in our hearts, in our actions, and that as long as it doesn't happen, as long as it happens, as long as the Spirit comes, it doesn't matter if we are afraid, for through the power of God, we will be made better. I suggest that it doesn't matter how high the walls have gotten or how locked the doors have been. We will be changed through the power of God to be better. If we are able to keep it before ourselves that we are humble Christians, descended from humble Christians, and that what that means is that we are wholly dependent upon God. We are wholly dependent upon the gifts of the Spirit. We will be changed through the power of God to be better, and we will make the world better. If I didn't believe with every bone of my body that the Holy Spirit were still alive today and still capable of changing the world and touching the hearts and transforming the lives of church, I would not get up in the morning. I would be in some little room locked in fear. And I think we all feel the same way. If we didn't believe that through the gifts of the Holy Spirit we are capable of overcoming obstacles and setting aside barriers and moving around challenges and changing our lives and changing our hearts and changing the world, if we didn't believe that, we wouldn't be here. Today we want to pray for ourselves as a church. Today we want to pray for those who this morning find themselves trapped in fear. Today we want to pray for the world around us, that it not be overcome by the darkness of the world, but be filled with this beautiful color of the Spirit. That as the men and the women of the faith come together this morning, speaking whatever language in parts of the world that we will never know, that we are able to join with them, realizing that through the gift and the power of God, our fear is really nothing more than just a pause. And our locked doors are nothing more than little barriers that we can climb over. The last thing in the world that we want to do is to be trapped in here when the world out there needs us. We are so much like our antecedents. We are so much like those first disciples. May we also be like them in receiving what they received, the power of God to do more, to be more than we are. For together, in His Spirit, we are much more than we are. Yo les invito, mis hermanos y hermanas, los que pensamos hoy que venimos aquí a recibir una misa, yo les invito a recibir no solamente la misa, pero que recibimos el Espíritu de Dios. Porque recordamos que los primeros discípulos congregaron en un cuartito en temor, en oscuridad, y no quisieron hacer nada por temor. Pero vino el día de Pentecostés, este mismo día, vino Dios en la forma del Espíritu Santo, los transformó, los cambió. Y al fin del día, si yo no creía que el Espíritu nos puede transformar, yo no sería aquí. Today, at the end of the day, as we lay our heads on our pillow, as we thank God for the day that we've had, I pray that we will not think about anything that is except for what the Holy Spirit has put into our hearts. That there will be a place, that there will be a time, and that there will be a vision that God has when you will say, I get it, it makes sense. At some point I was locked in a room, but now I'm free. And at some point I was fearful, but now I have faith. Mi oración para nosotros, todos, es que cuando dormimos hoy en la noche, cuando nos acostamos a dormir, vamos a decir, ya sé, Señor. Yo tenía temor, pero ya no. Yo estaba encerrado, pero ya estoy libre. Esa es mi oración para nosotros todos. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.